Welcome everybody to the seasonal diet, eating what our ancestors ate when they ate it like we were evolved to do. Wild garlic. Wild garlic is to the regular store-bought basic garlic what a wolf is to the corgi. I always prefer wild growing relatives of basic plants that we find in the store, and wild garlic is no exception. The problem is that these plants are not that easy to find, and it's also illegal to dig up in a lot of countries. Wild garlic is native to Europe and Asia, usually growing in moist woodlands. It's in season and it flowers from about April to June, depending on where you are. So this is definitely, along with most other herbs I've been talking about lately, is part of our ancestral diets in the springtime. Our ancestors had a ton of herbs in their diets right around this time of year, which is perfect because there wasn't much other food growing around yet. So herbs are very valuable in our diet at this time of year. Wild garlic is a bit sweeter and stronger smelling than the regular store-bought garlic, but in many other ways they are the same. They are in the same family after all, but wild plants almost always are more nutritious, have more vitamins and minerals and antioxidants than their regular farm-grown relatives. Wild garlic especially has much more magnesium, which is found in the leaves. Magnesium is known as the anti-stress mineral and protects the circulatory system, especially the heart. If you remember my video on only the 3 supplements that I take year-round, magnesium is one of them. So it is so important, and I guarantee you 100% all of you are going to be deficient in magnesium with our modern diet. This is one of the main reasons why our mental health is in the shitter these days, because of what our diet is doing. It's not getting enough magnesium, but previous humans had plenty of these wild plants and plenty of magnesium and the other minerals that we just don't get enough of today. And of course, it's hard. I know I take a supplement of magnesium, but we could all really get some wild garlic in the diet and it would help. They are very hard to find in stores, though. You can sometimes find them pickled in specialty stores. And even in nature, they're not easy to find unless you live right in the middle of a deep forest and in a moist forest. It's very hard to find too, but previous humans would have lived close to nature and they would have known the right spots to go to pick them and harvest them. You can eat them raw, but traditionally it was used as a flavoring in Europe. Lots of cheese recipes especially call for this. It's also great in some scrambled eggs and an omelet or with some meat, and that's really the records that we have of it in our ancestral diet being used the most of. And of course, springtime for Europeans at least, it was plenty of dairy and animal products at this time, and a relatively good amount of meat at this time too, and lots of fresh wild herbs. These are the things that were most available in nature at this time. Wild garlic has also been used medicinally to an extent. We don't have as many records of it being used medicinally as other herbs, for example, from the old sources that we have. Definitely used more as a flavoring for food, but we do see some examples of it being used for cardiovascular, respiratory, and digestive problems, and also for sterilization of wounds. We have it like in ancient Roman and Greek times. Yeah, of course, ancient humans didn't know what the word sterilization was or bacteria was, and they didn't call it the cardiovascular or respiratory system, okay? Humans didn't have the modern science education we have today, but they knew the effects. You don't need to have a modern science background to know the fancy Latin names for these things to figure out that some plants work in certain ways for certain things. Humans back then had nothing but time to experiment with the nature they lived in. So we can also do this too if we get back to nature, but again, be very careful, because if you think you found wild garlic, it's very close to resembling the lily of the valley, which is very poisonous, so seek help of an expert for that for sure. Luckily for me, my grandmother in Norway showed me where all her spots were for this. I didn't like it when I was a kid, but I really wish I lived near some wild garlic today. So check the laws where you live, because remember, it is illegal to harvest in some countries unless you own the land that it's on, of course. But yeah, have you guys ever tried it? Have you guys ever found it in the wild? Tried it out with cooking? Any stories? Let us know. And you can also pretty easily order the seeds and plant them and grow them yourself if you have access to the proper soil and environment that it would be needed to grow. So let us know. Please share any experiences in the comments.